Hi, this is Overbrook Quilt Connection, and we are participating in Moda's Stitch Pink project. Every day during the month of October, a new pattern will be released, and we will be doing a demo and releasing the video of how to complete the block for that pattern every day. So here is our first block. I'm going to put my camera down towards my work surface so you can see what I'm working on. So this first block is called Underdog, and the first step of it is to make snowballed corners of your corner pieces. So you're going to have a 4.5 inch white, or back, we're going to call it background, 4.5 inch background square. And then you'll have 2.5 inch squares that will be, you'll draw a diagonal line corner to corner, and you'll lay it on one of the corners of your background, and you will stitch it just, let me hold it up and maybe you can see it better. You'll stitch it just right on the inside edge, and by inside I mean the closest to the small point, along the line, and then you will lay your corner back to make sure that it matches the corner size of the original square, and then you will cut it off 1/4 inch away. So here's one that's already been completed, and then you will make 4 of these. All right, the second step then are what we call quarter square triangles. And you will start, you will have 2 of your medium pink and 1 of your light pink and 1 of your background. You will make pairs where you will match your medium pink and your light pink in this orientation. So, and then you will sew from the corner out, like so, and then you can press it towards the medium pink. Then you'll do a second set of those, you'll make 4 of these. Then you will do another set with your background. This time the medium pink is on the opposite side. Again, you will stitch from the corner out and press it towards the medium pink. All right, then you're going to combine those into one block. So you'll sew this center seam, and this will nest with each other. I don't know if you can see that, but the 2 are pressed opposing ways, so you're able to nest them together, and you will sew that seam, and you will end up with what we call a quarter square triangle. It needs to measure 4.5 inches, so you'll probably need to square it up. Now, I'm going to show this with a couple of different kinds of rulers. This is a fussy cut ruler that measures 4.5, and these are from Quilt in a Day, and it's a set that has multiple sizes. Each ruler is its own size. So this one happens to be the 4.5 inch size, and you can, if you can see this, let me pull it back a little ways, maybe you can see it a little better. It has lines that intersect, and then it also has the 1/4 inch seam allowance. It also has marks at the halfway point on each side. Now sometimes, like if you were doing square and a square, you might need that hash mark halfway through. But for this, we're just going to use these and our outside edge. So you lay it on with the lines matching the seam lines, and then you're going to trim off everything around it. And as you can see, there's just little tips and little slivers, okay? So that's one way you can do it. Another way would be to use your regular ruler. And you need to have one that has a 45-degree line on it. And so you identify where your 4.5 inches are, and you can even use some of that glow line tape if you need to mark that. But then you lay the 45-degree line on your ruler, and half of 4.5 is 2.25. So you make sure that your 2.25 point lines up on that where the center of your block is, okay? And you also make sure that all of your 4.5 inch line is contained, that you don't have blank space between your block and the 4.5 inch line, okay? So you lay it on, and then you can trim these two edges. Then you turn it around, you line it up the same way. Again, making sure your 2.25 is in the center. And you also, at this point, since these two edges have been cut, you can line them up with your 4.5 inch line. Again, make sure your 45 degrees is on that seam, and then cut your other two sides. So you'll end up with 4 of these that are trimmed to 4.5 inches. All right, the next step will be to just assemble your block. So you'll be making 3 rows. The first one will have 2 of your corner units that have the snowballed corners on them towards the center, and 1 of your quarter square triangles, again with the light pink, towards the center. And you're going to sew those 3 blocks together into a row, and you'll press them with the seams going out towards the corner units. Then you're going to make a center unit that has 2 quarter square triangles and your dark pink center, and you need to make sure that the orientation is with the light pink towards the center, and you're going to make a row that way. You're going to make 2 rows like this one, okay? All right, so I have finished stitching my second row together, because before I just had one of the sides on. So now you can see that I have them sewn together into a row. If you can see that this is lighter pink than the white, it shows better in person, I think, probably than it does on camera. But now we will be sewing our rows together. So when I do that, since these 2 rows, the seams are pressed out, and this row, the seam is pressed to the center, I will be pinning them at the joints where the seams nestle with each other. I will pin them both places, and I also pin it at the end just to make sure that when I get to the end, they don't move and slide off of each other. So now I'm going to sew these rows together. So I have now sewn my rows together into the finished block. I hope you can tell that there is a light pink circle kind of around here, and of course these are light pink also. I think if I hold it closer to the camera, you can see that there's a color differentiation. But here is our first finished block. It's called Underdog, and I will see you back tomorrow